More from our live stage at the Triple Crown Slumpbuster in Council Bluffs, Iowa, the greater Omaha area. Thad Anderson back with you, and freshly minted, now full-time staff member, Thomas Hoffman. Thomas, thanks for coming over.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
3 years of interning.
Yeah,
and
this is my third. And
finally, so in your third year, it finally turns into an actual real employment gig, not just a seasonal kind of a thing.
It's a special time, and I'm excited to join the family, join the company, be a part of everything on a full-time basis. Being out here, this is my third year here at the Slumpbuster, and it's fun. It brings me back to when I used to play in tournaments like this. Of course, I was never as good as the 10-year-old team I was just watching.
Yeah, I never was. Not at that age, or not at any age.
Not at any age, and not even now. I don't think I can relate some of these kids.
Yeah.
So it's been fun, and I'm certainly excited to get off and get running here.
We were just talking to Andy Hansen, who heads up the media division at Triple Crown Sports, and Thomas works in that division. So Thomas Hoffman, along with Kyle Koso, Nate Chu, and Andy Hansen, the four who are kind of making all the media machine work. When you're here for the Slumpbuster, this, again, just for you haven't, heard us talk about this yet, it's 16 days is the spread for this. There are 4 different sessions, so teams will come in, play their portion, head out of town, new teams roll in. Over 500 teams, over 35 states. What's the process when you're here? I mean, how do you even start to distill what stories you're going to look at?
Well, we really appreciate the teams that make travel and take the time to travel from Florida, from Oklahoma. I mean, it's not that far from Oklahoma, but Ohio. Earlier today you had on the head coach of the Ohio Spiders and teams like those. So we really kind of assess the brackets and see where teams are coming from and try to give them a little love, give them a little reason to come back and to tell their friends back in those areas in Florida, in Ohio, in Virginia. Just watched the Venom play. And so if they can go back and say, hey, this is a great thing, then that makes it worth it to us. So we kind of look at the brackets right now. We got that invite-only happening behind us right now. And so look at those, cover those teams, and kind of go from there. We started yesterday with the festival night, which was a long day for us. A lot of planning, a lot of this coming into effect. But, we go forward and we think about who's doing well. And certainly Sunday, when Championship Sunday comes around, we're covering the championships. But all that put in together, I think, makes a good media package from us, and Andy does a great job directing it all. Andy and Kyle kind of have this knack. I mean, both of them were baseball directors, and I think some people might forget that they have that background saying this is where the good teams are, and this is how you look at a bracket, and having that knowledge, I think, is a huge asset for us.
Mm-hmm. And then, the fun flip side, we had Millard United Sports on earlier today. Jeff and Chris, who are in their administration, and it's a local group. It's suburban Omaha. You talk about these distant travel teams, but then you also get the fun local stories, the kids and the organizations from around here who are so heavily impacted by being able to host an event like this. And a lot of pace setters in Omaha, great program. This Millard group is they're legitimate, these brackets. A lot of times when you go to an event, you see the local team in there, you kind of think, oh, how cute they let the local guy. That's not the case around here. This Omaha area baseball is right up there with anybody across the country.
Oh, absolutely. Kyle and I were having a conversation earlier about when did we want to cover Miller Elite. It seems like every year that I've been here, they're in a championship game or have won a championship game of any one of our brackets. And so looking at this is we're going to see them at some point down the line, and they play great baseball. The families are great, the teams are great, the coaches are great. It's talking with Chris and Jeff. It's a great organization, and they really do it right. And it's part of making this event into what it is, being such a gracious host. Because with the College World Series going on and everything, it's a lot happening in this area, and you can feel the buzz coming into Omaha. I love coming here every year.
So you grew up in Oregon.
Yes, sir.
And but more of the Ducks is more of your family background. But you got the Beavers here from Corvallis in Omaha. Now, will you get a chance to get over to TD Ameritrade and spend a little time there?
I think we might hustle over there after the championships wrap up on Sunday and get a chance to see a couple games. Fortunately, Oregon State plays on Saturday night against Cal State Fullerton.
Yeah, they're game one. Yeah, they're the afternoon.
Yeah, so, both my parents graduated the University of Oregon, proud graduates. And so instinctually, it's hard to root for Oregon State just on that basis. But Pac-12, it'd be nice to see. They're a great program. Pat Casey's a quality head coach, and they've been around. They kind of proven themselves after back-to-back championships to be around for another decade, hosting regionals, hosting super regionals.
The Triple Crown's based in Colorado and Oregon. The Ducks, they had a round one guy, David Peterson, this year, first-round pick, a pitcher from Oregon. He's actually a Colorado kid who ended up throwing for the Ducks. So you got things going on there. George Horton heading up the effort at Oregon. PK Park. Pac-12 baseball, Arizona made the championship series last year, and now you got Oregon State here. So you probably support Oregon State, if nothing else, just because all boats rise a little bit when you get the Pac-12 represented.
Yeah, I think, if I was a kid, I maybe would say something like, no, you can't root for the Beavers now. Evil Oregon State and those people in Corvallis. And I asked my parents, I was probably like that. But now, being around sports for the last couple of years, I worked collegiately for the last year, and you kind of learn to be a little bit unbiased, and you just appreciate baseball. TD Ameritrade is one of the most beautiful ballparks that I've ever been to. It feels like you're in a major league ballpark. Certainly the capacity is a little bit different. All they're really missing is a third deck, and it would be a major league ballpark. But the atmosphere, the way that Omaha just embraces everything, it's a special time.
I'm definitely on the bring the fences in 10 or 15 feet campaign at TD Ameritrade. I wouldn't mind seeing the long ball in play a little bit more, but aesthetically and finish and just detail that play, and even the positioning, the location when you walk out of that park and you go hit the streets. Rosenblatt was awesome for that. I mean, the atmosphere outside of Rosenblatt was great, but they really built something special down there at TD Ameritrade. So these teams that we're dealing with here at Slumpbuster, they play some games, then they go over and do that. When you're watching, I know you're just watching the game behind us, getting ready to cover a game. How often do you interview players, like 10-year-old, 11-year-old player?
I just got done with an interview.
And how do those go down?
It's an interesting dynamic between what ages you're at. The young ones, I just covered a 10U game. They tend to be a little bit more boisterous. The best quote I ever got in the last 3 years that I've been here was from a 10-year-old kid. He had hit 4 base hits in the game. He pitched 3 innings, struck something crazy, and I went up to him and I said, "Hey, you had a great outing at the plate. What were you seeing? What was the pitcher giving you?" And he goes, "Honestly, that pitcher was just throwing me meatballs, and I hit him." And so you get quotes like that. Anthony D'Angelo just got done with the Lone Tree Halos, and they knocked off the Dirty South Venom, and so he gave me a great quote. And another great organization. You get up to like 12, 13, sometimes they want to act cool in front of their friends and be all, hey,
a little more self-conscious.
Marshawn Lynch-like.
Shut it down a little bit, yeah. Yeah, we for all those years in Steamboat Springs and other places where we do those media days and have the kids fill out bio sheets on themselves, that was always the case. I loved it when the 9, 10, 11-year-old teams rolled in. The 13s and 14s, and I'm sure you've done this, you kind of have to break through it. Once you break through with them, they want to be a kid, but they're getting some cues from society that say, or they're starting to watch ESPN more and watch how a pro athlete handles an interview.
Yeah.
But once you break through with those guys, they're usually you can kind of get them going. It's nice when you turn the corner and get to the upper high school level and the college level. A lot of times they kind of revert back to being themselves a little more, letting their personality come back. There's that window of maybe 13 to 16 years old sometimes where maybe they're just trying to figure out who they are. They don't know how they're supposed to conduct themselves.
That's true. I think you get a lot of coaching from the parents at that point. These kids are going to talk to you, and this is going to be your first interview experience. Don't make yourself look like something that I wouldn't be proud of, or
right.
Something along those lines. I've had a couple of parents, like, hey, he's just 13.
Yeah,
it's fine.
We're just chatting and having some fun with the game here. My recommendation, if for a parent, and I'm a parent myself, when a kid's filling out a bio sheet, let the kid fill out the bio sheet. We'd have parents, usually one per team. The parent would commandeer the form and, nope.
Yeah.
Because just so you know, we're not going to say, when they write something really bad, we're not going to say it. Trust me, it doesn't make error. Probably the same thing for you. You could probably what advice would you give a parent for if a Triple Crown media division rep comes up to just say, hey, we just want to talk about that game, write up a little story on it. What would you recommend to parents? How should they be handling that, either themselves or their child?
For themselves, I said just let your kid be your kid. Maybe even back away a little bit moment so the kid can't see. A lot of times I'll try to pull the kid away from the team and from the parents, and so they don't see anybody else, none of their friends, none of their family, so they can just interact with me, and you get a little bit more of an honest conversation with that. And you can coach up your kid a little bit, but some level, we've all watched television. We watch how players on the professional level get interviewed and answer questions. We kind of have our favorite style, and that influences you. So I would just advise let your kid, be your kid, and especially with somebody like myself or Kyle or Nate who's going around. We have editing technology. None of this is going live.
Right.
We're not going to publish it. Say, look what this kid say. We're not trying to get that kind
controversy stirred, and
exactly. We're not trying to jump on Deadspin with this is going on.
Right. Yeah.
We want to make everybody look good, and certainly they're doing themselves favors playing in this tournament, and the way that they have the quality of play has just been phenomenal.
Well, it's fun. A couple of times we brought teams up here on this stage and have them stand back here when coach is up here, and they're just kind of giddy. I mean, they mean no harm. They want to say things that matter or don't matter, or they don't know what to say, But it's funny to watch in any one team the diversity of personalities, and you always got a couple who are like the real gregarious, real extroverted, and you got a couple who are like, I want no part of this, and can I stand with the parents over there? Sometimes those are the super mature kids, the ones who are smart enough to know I don't know what I'm going to do up here, so I'm just going to keep myself out of it and not run the risk of you guys not editing me well. When you show up here, I know there's a lot more play to play out over the next couple of days, but are there stories emerging yet, or does that tend to happen more as the brackets run farther into the process?
On a day like today, where we get the first kind of bracket games of the invite-only stuff that kind of mimics the College World Series, you see some pool play. Stories, teams that have gone 0-3 or 0-2-1, or some that start to knock off some of these bigger seeds. But a lot of that has to do with strategy. I mean, this is the coaching of these tournaments, not only in how you coach your players, but how you kind of run it's a long tournament. It started a couple days ago, and we're just now getting into bracket play, and it's going to go all the way into Sunday. So you kind of have to navigate exactly how you want to play these tournaments. And so we're starting to see a little bit of that. I mean, the Venom knocked off the number 1 seed in their first game, and then they got beat, so we get this jumping back and forth. But certainly, hopefully we get a couple of good stories as the week progresses. As
far as distribution, so as we talk about this, if people are wondering, okay, so you're doing all these great stories, but how do I find this stuff? What are your avenues to get to the content that Triple Crown Media puts out?
Well, we started up a great Twitter account, the Omaha Slumpbuster Twitter account itself, at TC Slumpbuster is the big one. Tag us, use the hashtag TC Slumpbuster. We'll find you on there, and that's kind of how you'll find our content. We'll post it right to there. Facebook, Triple Crown Sports Baseball is a great avenue to get that. We'll post all of our stories on there. On the website, triplecrownsportsmedia.com. It'll be right there, right in front. All of the great things that Kyle and Nate are posting, and a couple that I'll get to. And so it's a lot of different places you can find it, and the link will take you right to it. It's very, very easy to get to and to tag.
So you're a couple weeks into full-time employment now at Triple Crown Sports. Where's this headed? What's your ultimate outcome on this thing? Is Andy in trouble? Should he be nervous?
I've said for years leading up to their offer for full-time that if they came asking, I would say yes. Andy's a fantastic person to work for. All of this is his brainchild, this live show that you guys have been running the last couple of days, and the great guests that you've had on between him and Kyle. Kyle's taught me everything I know about riding, and so I'd like to be here as long as possible. Working tournaments like this, the Omaha Slumpbuster, where you get to see the youth side of things, and 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old baseball, and then the flip side, a lot of college things are starting to pop up for Triple Crown Sports, and they're getting into that avenue and presenting these great college tournaments that are fun to be a part of, and it's nice to have that dichotomy of youth sports versus collegiate sports and going forward.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on the new position.
Thank you very much.
Triple Crown Sports, and good luck with you got the sprint now. It's the bell lap or whatever you got coming here of this Slumpbuster. There's a lot going to happen the next couple of days. Good luck with all the coverage.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
That's Thomas Hoffman with Triple Crown Media.